Hi everyone, I hope all of you guys are doing well. So let's go ahead and dive today into GS2 sources for both mains and for prelims, covering various topics such as polity, social justice, governance, international relations, poverty alleviation, etc. These are the various topics given in the GS2 main syllabus, and I will go ahead and tell you today about these. First of all, for the prelims exam, it is very simple. It is very straightforward. You need only one book out there for preparing for polity portion, for preparing for the entire questions. 90% of the questions that come from the polity questions come from this Lakshmikant book, which is one of the most popular books for UPSC. And apart from that, I also recommend reading The Indian Constitution at Work, which is a textbook in political science for class 11th. This is available online on NCERT website. You can check it out, or you can buy it from Amazon or any other bookstores. Now, first, I would like to tell you for prelims, you should go ahead and read the Indian Constitution at Work book. This book you should read first, because this book will help you to understand the basic structure of the Indian polity in a very simple way, with a lot of examples and in a very simplified language. So here, Constitution, why and how, rights in the Indian Constitution, elections, the representation, executive, legislature, judiciary, the three branches of the government. Then what is the meaning of federalism and how it applies to India? All this is given, and this is a broad overview of how India is basically run, how India's polity is structured. So this is very good book. I have always recommended all UPSC aspirants to, regardless of where they are preparing from, how they are preparing, whether they are in a coaching institute or not, they should definitely go ahead and read this particular book, because in this particular book your concepts will be clear and a lot of questions will be coming from those concepts in the paper, especially in the prelims and the mains paper both. So this is a highly recommended book, and I wish that you go ahead and read this book. I would also say that in this book you should also try to read the various points they have given about the Constituent Assembly. What are the debates they had in the Constituent Assembly? What are the debates that our constitution makers had? It is also provided in this particular book. All right. Apart from that, I would also say look at the exercise of the book at the back of the chapters. These exercises are very important for you to have built a solid foundation when you are studying for this particular subject. So go ahead and look into these exercises, because they will help you with both mains as well as prelims. After you have read this Indian Constitution at Work, then you can come to Indian Polity book. This is the Lakshmikant book. I have made a very detailed video which has almost 5 lakh views. You can watch that video about how to read the Lakshmikant book. And in that video, I have discussed that you don't need to read the Lakshmikant book serial wise or chronologically. Like, you don't need to start from chapter 1, 2, 3. Instead, I have provided a very different way of reading this particular book. And if you follow that particular way, it will become much easier for you to actually understand and finish the reading of this entire book. Remember, this book you will need to read 3-4 times on the minimum, because a lot of questions are coming from this book. It covers pretty much everything possible that you can think of. So I would say that become an expert in this book. Know this inside out like it's your soulmate. So you can see also, this is the book that I used to study, and I have underlined things, I have written things on the corners, on the sides like this, so that I remembered things. And I also made very detailed notes of around 200 pages. 200 page notes. These are available on the link that I have provided in the description and in the comment. So you can go ahead and download this particular book's notes also if you want. And those notes are very concise, very specific. They cover most of the chapters. There might be a couple of chapters that are missing, but those notes are helpful in revision, because let's say, you are reading emergency, you're not going to remember the entire chapter, but the main points that you need to remember from this chapter are given on these notes also. I would recommend to you that this book you should read very thoroughly. You don't need to remember all the small facts, but you should remember the major differentiations that are given, major provisions that are given, major articles. You should also read, you should try to understand it. See, once you get this book right, once you understand this book, then it is all about just understanding this book and then going through it again and again, practicing it a lot so that you become an expert in this particular book. So this book requires deep expertise because questions come from this book, but there are a few chapters that are more important than the other chapters in this book. For example, the chapter on rights, the chapter on emergency provisions in India's constitution, the chapter on parliamentary committees. These kind of chapters are definitely more important than, let's say, the chapter on planning commission. This is already out. This is the old edition of the book. You can get the new one also. It depends. I don't differentiate between editions. There is only very minor differences and additions when something like this happened, that planning commission has been now replaced by Niti Aayog. So those kind of things are changed in new editions. But as long as this book is concerned, I don't think I can particularly tell you which are less important chapters, but there is a particular way in which you can read this particular book, which has already been covered by me in a video. All right. So go ahead, read this particular book properly, revise it a lot of times, try to recall it a lot of times, use the techniques I have provided. And one special thing about this book is also that a lot of people don't realize is at the end of the book, there are a lot of questions given. Okay, of the old question papers that have come for you in UPSC, Polity, and also some of their own questions. So these questions you can practice because they will help you understand and also test yourself. A lot of people, candidates, a lot of aspirants ask me, sir, we are not able to understand what is the preparation like. Well, the best way to do that is test yourself. All right. So these two books will help you cover the polity portion, governance, some part of the governance portion, not entirely, constitution portion that is given in the syllabus of GS2. Apart from this, there are other topics also. There are topics like social justice. There are topics like international relations. There are topics like alleviation of poverty, etc. that are given in the GS2 syllabus. How do you cover that? But see, there is no particular book for those topics. What you will have to do is you have to do two things. You can refer to monthly compilations because a lot of current affairs questions come from that particular portions. So what you can do is you can look at monthly compilations for those particular sections, such as vision monthly compilation, because that is a good monthly compilation that you can use. And apart from that, you can also go ahead and use my notes on social justice, my notes on governance, my notes on e-governance that I have provided in the link below, so that you can download those notes. Those are good notes, over 200-300 pages, that will also help you to cover your understanding of social justice. All right. So I will show you some of those notes here. So these are the notes that I had made. They're nicely formatted also about social justice, capabilities, approach of social justice. All the basics are covered here, and as well as I have covered a lot of examples have been given here. And a lot of this is obviously taken from ARC reports, etc. So I would also suggest that you read those reports. The next thing that you should do is definitely go ahead and read these ARC reports. I have provided them in the folder, in the link in the comments and in the description, all these reports at one place. So you can download these reports and you will need to read some of these reports. My notes are also inspired from these reports. So they are very, very helpful in GS2 because they cover a lot of topics about social justice, citizen-centric governance. They will help you in GS3 also, promoting e-governance. So e-governance, then this is about, I think, local governance. So these kind of reports are very, very important, and you will need to read this for this particular subject, social capital. All right. Another source that you really should consult is PRS legislative website. I will also make a separate video on how to read from PRS, but PRS is a must for polity, especially for the GS2 mains exam, because PRS goes ahead and writes these white papers on a different topics of constitutional importance or something that has happened in the legislature or the Supreme Court. So these kind of topics are covered very well in PRS. They also write some white papers. So I will make a altogether different video about how to read PRS, but that is also a must for preparing for GS2. As far as international relations are concerned, you should go ahead and read this book by Rajiv Sikri. He's an ex-IFS officer. He's written a very nice book on India's foreign relations, and you will get a good idea about it. And my notes have also been uploaded, so you can also look at that also. But best way to prepare for international relations is obviously to understand the fundamentals of India's international relations, and then alongside that later on to read various current affairs about India's international relations. These kind of current affairs you can get from monthly compilations. Vision IAS is a reliable one. Insights IAS is also good. So that will definitely help you to prepare well for international relations. So overall, for polity, the number of resources is very, very limited. You have to really depend on the polity book, you have to depend on some of these notes, and you have to depend on a lot of compilations and ARC reports, some law commission reports, and that way you would be well prepared for polity. But along with that, do a lot of answer writing, because it's all about being able to decipher answers, questions, and able to write good answers for that, because that is what matters for polity. Beyond that, there is not much scope. Knowledge wise, you will be able to have sufficient knowledge from these particular sources to tackle GS2, but उसके बाद बहुत ज़्यादा practice करनी पड़ेगी. And I hope you guys continue to practice hard, study hard, and let me know if you have any more questions. And finally, I would also like to thank you guys for 350,000 subscribers. That's a huge number. So thanks a lot, and hopefully we will keep learning together. Bye bye.